Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to our webinar. I'm Michael and Trevor Toll, the Marketing Manager for Solution Systems Inc. Today we have customers and others attending this webinar, so just a bit about Solution Systems before we begin. We are located in Rolling Meadows, Illinois, and we have been in business for 35 years providing software, IT infrastructure, and web development to organizations in the Chicagoland area, as well as Wisconsin, Indiana, and the Midwest region. We are a Gold Certified Microsoft partner. We sell, implement, and support an ERP software called Microsoft Dynamics NAV. NAV is a business accounting software that is geared toward manufacturers, distributors, and service companies. We also sell, implement, and support CRM as well as outsource IT services to our customers. Today we are very fortunate to have Rick Baxter with us from Cost Control Software, and he will be conducting this overview. So I'm going to pass it over to him so we can get started with that.
Hello and welcome again. This is Rick Baxter with Cost Control Software coming to you live, or if you're watching this on the replay, that's okay as well. We're going to be looking today at NAV 2013 Best Kept Secret, which is what I'm calling the built-in CRM, Customer Relationship Management. Some people refer to it as Contact Relationship Management. Either way, it is all about contacts and relationships with those contacts and managing those contacts. So the name really says it all. Now, Katie sent to most of you this outline, so hopefully you either have it on screen or can follow along. I'm going to scroll down a little bit to page 2. Here we go. And we're going to get started. Okay, now, so we're going to take a look at Microsoft NAV's Best Kept Secret, which is our built-in CRM. And I kind of see from the attendee list, it's great to have so many of you on the call. This is wonderful. 28 at this stage, so right at the top of the hour. Glad to have everybody here. Hopefully I'll do a good job for you. Sit back, relax. It's about an hour presentation, maybe a little over an hour. I don't know. We'll just kind of see how it goes. I do see from the attendee list that we have a pretty nice balance between NAV resellers and NAV end users. I've got quite a few, I see quite a few end users on the call as well, and a few people that are in the evaluation stage of NAV, and I'm always glad to have you here as well. If you do have, any of you, if you have questions at any time, you can type them into the Q&A box, and I do my polls with the Q&A box as well, so I will ask you to type on the keyboard as we go along. I am going to be showing a little bit of Rick's vision, so I'm going to be kind of talking about how I see you using the CRM system. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the perfect way to use it, but I'm just going to give you my impressions and pretty much how I use it in-house here. The agenda is pretty much going to be a side-by-side comparison of the features that we've got in Foundation Pack compared to the NAV software, the out of the box. So of course I am going to show you the add-on from Cost Control Software. You may not be aware that we have made some, what I consider some fairly extensive improvements to the CRM system, and that is one of about 70 features that you'll find in our Foundation Pack when you order that from Cost Control Software. And I do have a special offer at the end of the session today if you do order in the Foundation Pack, so stay around for that announcement as well. Okay, so we're going to look at several things today. I'm going to get right into it. First thing is the Salesperson Role Center. Now I'm going to move this out of the way for just a moment. And I want to explain how I've got my screens. My screens are, I know they look like, what has he got on this screen? Because many of you are familiar with NAV. So what I've got is I've got two sessions running. On the left side, I have the Kronos USA company, which is just the out of the box, and I'm in the Sales Manager Role Center. So this is the way the system comes out of the box when you just purchase it straight from NAV. On the right side here is the Sales Manager Role Center from Cost Control Software. Then when you purchase the foundation pack from us, this is the way we ship it. It looks a little different, and it's got a few other choices on here. In fact, before I go any further, let me just point out a couple things. So here is on the left side, let's just talk about the menu choices. So the role center, out of the box role center, items, contacts, customers, campaigns, segments, to-dos, and teams. On our role center, we added a couple extra things. So we still have customers and contacts and items, those kind of things. So that hasn't really changed. But we did add in to-dos with an option to look at either all the to-dos, so I can see a list of all the to-dos, or just the to-dos that are assigned to someone, or some to-dos that are unassigned. Wanted to make it easy for the sales manager to be able to switch between the assigned to-dos and the unassigned to-dos. Now, that may be an advanced topic actually. Let's start with the contacts themselves. So let's go, I'm going to back up one step. Suddenly realized I was too far into it already. So here is a contact list. Now, contacts is an interesting word. Contacts can be a variety of things. Contacts can be the company. So if I'm on the Canon group, that's a company contact. If I'm down here on David Hodgson, that's a person. And John Emery, that's a person. So these are person contacts. This is a company contact. And I notice when I say company contact, I'm not saying customer and I'm not saying vendor. It's a company contact, because each within the list of contacts, you can have vendors, you can have customers, you can have basically unassigned people, people that aren't a customer or they're not a vendor. Maybe they're a prospective customer. And so they're not in your master customer list. They're just potential customers, and they can be on your list as well. Now, let me just compare that list to the contact list out of the box. It's almost the same. So it's the same kind of list. So let me just go down to the Canon group. So I'm just going to do a Control F for find, and we'll put in the, and that should find it for us. I want to go to the Canon group. Where are you? There we go. Okay, so here is the Canon group. Let me close that. And in fact, just so you can see these kind of side by side, here's the Canon group, here's the Canon group. If I move this over just a little bit, there we go. And I'll just move this down. Okay, so there's the two side by side. So the sample data in my combo database here is pretty much the same as the sample over in the NAV system. I try to keep that part the same. But we do make a few changes, and that is, again, what I want you to understand with the list. Oh, and by the way, when you're adding new contacts, you basically, to add new, this is the same in either system. You're just coming up and you're saying new. In fact, let me open up, let's go to David here, and I'm just going to click on his card. So I'm going to double click that account. So when you add someone new, and I'm not going to do a bunch of typing today, guys. I'm just going to kind of talk through some basic principles here. So when you say new, you'll get a blank screen, and then you'll basically type in whether it's a person or whether it's a company, because you really only have two choices here. It's you're adding a person or you're adding a company. So if you think about it, when you add a person, you probably should add the company first. So let's say you've got a business card, and let's go back actually here. If you got a business card at a trade show, or you were at some meeting and you picked up a business card and you needed to record that person into your list of contacts, keep this simple here to begin with. Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put the company in. So it's a two-step process. You're going to put the company in, the Canon Group company, and the company's address, their phone number. You might put in some information about that company. You might put in certainly their phone number, the extension, if there's a particular company email. You could put in the email communication and so forth for that company. Okay, so that's the first thing you do. Once you get the company in there, then you're going to add the person. So you'll say new, and you'll come in and you'll start to put in information about that particular individual. But in this case, you either you put in a number or you assign it. You put in a person and then the company and so forth. So that's the basic start of it. And you use the card to do that. Remember, you can't add from the list. You do that from the card. Now, I want to point out one thing. I'm going to slide this over just a little bit, and I'm going to point out a couple things here. So I'm going to go to the way it looks out of the box. So if I go out of the box and I open up David, so this is the same person. I don't want that full screen. There we go. Hold on. Okay, so here is his contact card. This is the way, sorry. Okay, so this is the way it looks pretty much out of the box. It's going to have the contact information, the lines, communication, segmentation. This is the way the card looks, you know, pretty much out of the box. Not bad, not bad. You know, it's got place for links and notes within that contact. And then the ribbon at the top's got place for adding somebody new. There's actions that you can do. There's navigation things that you can do, and reports. Now, when I started looking at this, and I'm going, well, if this was me using the contact management, and I do use this on almost a daily basis, I started to realize that this didn't have everything that I wanted on here. I started looking at it and I go, oh my goodness, well, if you come over here, let me just show you what I started to realize. Right, where's statistics? See, it's even hard to sometimes find things. Okay, there we go, statistics. So if I bring up statistics, there's information about this contact, statistical information, general and opportunities, and I'll talk about opportunities in a minute. But the statistics, I had to dig to get to that, and I didn't like that. And so I said, okay, well, if it was me and I was using the system, how would I want this to be displayed? So let's go back to his card here, and this is the way I organize the screen. And actually, it's kind of, you got to think in terms of you're the user of the system, and certainly you can personalize this any way you want. This is just, I'm just showing you kind of Rick's impression of changes that I think should be made to the system, and this is the way we ship it out of the box. Okay, so Dave, I've got one question in here. This is a good one. Are contacts global throughout Navision or only for each login? Great question. Okay, so David wants to know, when I'm seeing this list of contacts, am I seeing all the contacts global for the company, or am I seeing just maybe my contacts? Well, because I'm in the role center, okay, and I'm going to answer this question because I think this is a really important one. I'm in the sales manager's role center. So when I'm seeing the list of contacts, as a sales manager, I want to see everybody's contacts. So the sales manager needs to see everybody, and they need to see all the statistics about that person. So when I'm seeing here, David Hodson, the card, and all the fact box information, so basically you can see what I did is I said, well, instead of having the statistics hard to get to, it's a click to get to it. I don't want to have to do the click. I want that information on my screen right there. So I just moved the statistics into a fact box. Now you can do that yourself, or you can just say, no, I'm going to take a look at all the features that Cost Control has built into the system and include this when I start my new system 2013. I want that as the way it comes out of the box, because I like having this, like the number of opportunities too, and the value of those opportunities showing at any given time. Now I want to add one other thing to David's question here. And that is about the global throughout the company. Yeah, and absolutely that's what you're seeing. But with cost control software, and I don't think I'm going to spend too much time on this. In fact, I was going to mention it at the beginning. I thought, I don't know if I'm going to cover it, but I will. So I'm going to go into the profiles, and I want you to see the role centers. This is the role center. So I went to the role center area, and if I'm going too fast on some of these things, I apologize. The recording will be here, and you can always watch the recording back and pause it. So you can always pause and see how I click to get through these things. So I've got two role centers. I have a sales manager role center, and I added a new role center called a salesperson role center. The salesperson role center, David, will address your question, because if I use the salesperson role center, which I'm not going to do here, if I use that particular role center, then when I bring up a list of contacts, they're going to be just the contacts for that salesperson. I think that's the direction you are looking for there, and that's in fact what it does. Okay, so let's go just a little further on this idea. So how did I want to use this role center, and how did I want the card to display? Well, I wanted a lot of good information about this contact. So David Hansen, I like having comments right here in my face. Now, I didn't eliminate, many of you know that there's a section called profiles, and I didn't eliminate that, but I did move it down. And I brought the contact button, which you can, the comments button up here. And rather than having to click to get to the comments, I like showing the comments right on screen. So I like to have this comment block area where I can come in and I can add an additional contact. And I can just say today, let's say Rick called David regarding new installation. Okay, so I can kind of keep a little list of the things that I do with that person there. Now that's different than a to-do list. We'll talk about a to-do list here in a second. But this is comments associated with this person, this contact. And so it's, and I tend to put my comments on the person card, not the company card. And you can put some comments on the company, like, you know, really nice company, or locate where you've got where it's located, but you know what general kind of comments. But then on the individual comments, that's where you really want to put the very specific comments in here. Okay. And what I'm going to have to do, David, I appreciate some additional questions here. I'm going to save some of these questions. People are typing in a bunch of questions, and I really don't want to hold up the process here. So we're going to have a section of Q&A at the end. So bear with me, and we'll get to some of those at the end. But type them in at any given time that you want as we go along. So here's the comments. Okay, the comments, I basically promoted that into its own ribbon just for ease of use, and so I could see my recent comments right on the screen. The other thing we felt that we needed here is the to-dos, because in the base package, the starter package that comes with NAV, to-dos are included. And this is where you can have a list of all the to-dos that you've got with Mr. Hodgson here. And you can have multiple to-dos, not just one to-do. You can have multiple to-dos with different starting dates on them. To add a new one, you just say create new to-do. So a little knowledge there. And it just walks you through doing that. You add them in, and then it shows up. And if you noticed back, where was that? Oh, that's opportunities. Okay, so the to-dos, you know, are basically one click away. I think in the base product, I noticed when I was in contacts, and I'm going to refer back to this every now and then, when I was over here in the base product and I was either on the list, well, on the list, I don't see to-dos here. When I was on the card, I was sitting here, and where's the to-dos? I went to actions. There were no to-dos there. I went to navigate, and here is to-dos. So, and the to-dos to me is one of the most important things, not the most important, but it's an important part of the system, and I was having to dig way too much to get to it. Now I know you can promote it, so if you can personalize your screen, if you've gone to my class on personalization, you'll learn how to actually come in here and you can customize the ribbon. So if you don't know how to do that, do take my class. It's free. Just let me know you want access to it and we'll set you up for that, and it will take you through exactly how to customize your ribbon so that you can promote things and change your ribbon around, change the menus, those kind of things. It's a class on personalization. If you're interested in that, let me know and we'll set you up with access to that. Okay, so what I decided as I was, thinking in terms of myself, how I'd want to use this, I wanted the to-dos and the comments, everything right there in front of me. I didn't want to have to dig to trying to get to this stuff. So some of the improvements, and this is part of the feature sets that we've put into Foundation Pack, is to have those comments readily available right there on screen. The to-dos, the opportunities, all that kind of stuff. Now, in fact, before I talk about opportunities, because that's the next major leap, okay? What I contend is out of what's called the starter, I think it's called starter kit or starter pack from Microsoft, what's included, you need to know what's included in that. Well, the basic contact list that you see here, that's included, okay? So you have the ability for all of the contacts, companies and individuals, and you also have the to-dos. So for David here, you can have a list of all the to-dos. This is all part of the starter kit that comes when you buy NAV. So everybody on the call, if you own NAV currently, you've got this. Okay, it's included in the base product. Now you may not have opportunities, okay, but you definitely have to-dos. And you can set up these to-dos and you manage the to-dos, and you can come into your to-do list, the assigned to-dos, and you can kind of, like when I'm thinking of my to-dos, I'm just working down this list. Who do I need to call this person, this person. I look at the dates and I say, okay, I need to make that call. I typically have their name, the contact information up here in my fact box. This is another little change we made to make it simple. So when you're sitting here, you've got the phone number, the contact name. Out of the box, I found I had to struggle just to get a phone number and see the person's name. It was like, oh my gosh, who, I just had a description here and hardly anything else. And I was very frustrated trying to use the base system as it comes out of the box. So I started making improvements to it. And in fact, then I said to my development team here, I said, we need to put this into our Foundation Pack, what we ship with each new installation. So we now include a bunch of improvements. You can get a list of those improvements, by the way. If you want a list of all the improvements we've made to the Foundation Pack for CRM, let me know and I'll be glad to send that to you. Okay, so here's my first question. I'm going to take a poll. I'm going to do a couple polls as we go through this today. So here's my next poll, and it's not really, I'm going to see if it's on the study guide. I don't know if I put it in here. So I've covered the contact list in the card. You've seen that. I've looked at to-do list and card. And before I go to opportunities, I want to ask everybody in the call a question. Okay, so this is your chance to type. So grab your keyboard. How many of you could use the system as I've just shown it? That would be contacts, contact cards, the to-dos, the comments, updating the system, updating your to-dos, having a salesperson to-do list of calls, and staying in touch with your system. Just type in, on the Q&A box, whether that would work for your business. Think in terms of your own business. Would that work as is, or do you need more? Okay, James says, yes, that'd be useful. Okay, Alan says, yes, for White Star, that's probably all we need. And Kathy says, yes, that would do it. And in fact, yeah, that's useful. So Ben says useful. David says, oh, David Henderson, good, needs more. Okay, and I think you do need more. But quite frankly, many of our users, end users that use the software, just use the contact card and the to-do list, just this portion of CRM, and it works great. It works great. Okay, but some people want more. David Henderson wants more. So that worked, but we still have a few sales staff very reliant on paper and Rolodexes. You know, that is really true. A lot of sales staff today are still hesitant to go in here and start doing these things. They're not comfortable pulling up a list. In fact, think in terms of your Rolodex, because that's a great example here. This list is your Rolodex. That's really what this is. All those business cards put into NAV, and it's a Rolodex. Did you know in 2013, instead of using this filter option up here, there's a new option called Find, and it's just you hold down Control and press F. And then you get this little dialog right here. So you get this dialog box. This is pretty handy. So it says on name. Okay, so I'm doing a find on the name. So let's say I want to find somebody named Rick. So I type Rick and I press enter, and it takes me to the first occurrence. Now it wasn't Rick, but it was Patrick. Okay, so it found somebody. I go next, see if there's any other next. Yeah, I've got myself in here. I go next. And it's taking me through, go back previous, it's taking me through the system as it's helping me find those people. So this is your Rolodex. That's exactly what this thing is. It's your Rolodex, and it's all the information that you've got on those business cards. Name, address, phone number, and I bet on the back side of the business card, you probably wrote some comments as well. You know, I met this person at some trade show or at a business meeting, or at the airport, wherever it was, and you can put in those comments about this person just like you do in your Rolodex or on the back of the business card. Okay, Brian says I need to feed leads into it from Dodge. Oh, okay. Can we scan cards in and import from Goldmine? So NAV. So Brian. A great comment. In other words, he may have this list. Let me go back to the list. He may have this list in a third party. You may have it in Excel, or you may have it in, he mentioned Goldmine or ACT or some of the variety. There's tons of other third party CRM systems out there. Anything can be imported into NAV. Currently, we use something called XML ports. It sounds fancy, but it's not hard to learn to use. And so this whole list and all the information about these people, their name, their address, their phone number, their email address, all this information can be immediately imported into your CRM system. So great question. I think it was important to mention that. And will this CRM sync with Outlook? The answer is yes. It will sync with Outlook. I will not have time to show that today. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit further now. So I think you can do an awful lot with just the contact list and the to-do list. But let's go further, because I know many of you, what you want to do is really track opportunities. You have an opportunity with one of these contacts, and you really want to keep track of that opportunity even more so than the contact. You're really managing opportunities with the lead. So let me show you what I'm talking about there. So let's see. I think I set one up. Here, I'm going to go back to that. Where am I? Forget the guy I was working on. Okay, well, I'm going to go, we'll just put a new one in here. So I'm going to come to this person. Let me see if there's any opportunities with him. There's not. Okay, so let's say I'm going to put a comment here. So I met Chris. Okay, so I'm going to put down met at trade show wants a quote on a new side panel. Okay, so he wants a quote on something. All right, and so you put that comment in here. Now, so what you've got several things that you need to do. That's an opportunity. Okay, that's a sales opportunity. And so what you're wanting to do for Chris is first log in that information about the opportunity. So I'm going to come in here to opportunities, and I'm going to put in a new one. Okay, so I'm going to add a new opportunity, and it's actually called create opportunity. And notice again, I try to make the ribbon, this ribbon, have the things on here that I use on a regular basis. Very important to make it easy for your customers to use the software. So if you're a reseller, think in terms of the organization of the ribbon. We do that constantly here at Cost Control. We ship the ribbon out to our resellers that purchase the foundation pack from us with this already designed so that it's ready to go. So I'm going to come in to create an opportunity. Now, an opportunity works with a little, what I would call a wizard, kind of walks you through a couple steps. So I'm going to put down here what I say, side panel, panel for new installation. Okay, so you put in a brief description about what that opportunity is, not the whole description, just a brief one. The date's typically today's date. That's the date I'm working on the software. What's the priority is normal. Now you can set it up to a high priority. Let's say if it's a hot lead or something that's very important, you could set the priority up. I'm just going to leave it as normal. We'll go next. So the contact that's involved, remember I was on Chris McGurk, and the salesperson code probably should have defaulted in as me. I think I'm logged in as someone else here today. And then the sales cycle. Now this is something interesting here. You can have different predefined sales cycles. Think of these as workflows, things that you do when you are doing your selling process. And I can't define this for you. All I can tell you is that you can set these up. And a lot of people I know will have a discovery meeting. They'll review the client's needs. They'll do some design work. Then they'll present a proposal. Then maybe they do a demonstration of it. They go through a lot of different steps, okay, in the sales cycle with the client. And you can predefine those steps and set those up ahead of time, and you kind of check off as you're moving through them. I'm just going to set this up for small, and I'm going to go next. And I'm not going to have time to talk about marketing opportunities. That's an advanced topic. And you can now specify the estimated values regarding the opportunity. So I'm going to activate the first step, and I'm going to say this is a $20,000 opportunity. So I'm going to put in $20,000. What is the chance of success? Now this is a little bit of a gut feeling. So I'm going to say, I think I've got a pretty good chance. So I'm going to say at this stage, because it's fairly early in the process, I'm at a 30% probability of closing this opportunity. Okay? You will have to just adjust that yourself. And later I'll show you how you can run this update process, and you can adjust these numbers, because as you go further and further with that client, you may know more and more about the opportunity. The value may be higher or lower, and your probability of closing that business will change as well. The other thing that you typically would put in is when you think you will close the opportunity. So I'm going to say out here in September the 18th. Okay, and then I'm finished. So it writes that opportunity line. Now I can have multiple opportunities with this particular client, but I'm just going to put in one for right now. Notice the fact box again. So it's going to show me instantly the value of the opportunity here, that 20,000, the 30%. I'm 2% complete, which means I've just started it. My probability of close is a kind of a weighted probability, and so the current value of that of the opportunity is $3,200 based on the probabilities of closing and some weighting factors that are in there, more than I can get into here today. Okay, so there's the opportunity. So if I close that, I want you to notice too that you can see that from the contacts card as well. So I can see the value here, and I believe you can see it on the list. Let me just make sure. So if I'm sitting out here on the list, yeah. So right here you see the contact opportunities is there, and these are drillable. So if I'm sitting on my list of contacts, I can go, oh my goodness, we got a 20,000. What is that opportunity? You come in here and you can actually see the details associated with that particular opportunity. That's pretty handy. Okay, so opportunities. So this is all about opportunities. This takes it to the next level. Now, opportunity management that you've just seen me going through, just a very brief example of here, is only available when you have the extended pack with 2013. So with the starter pack, you get the contacts and you get the to-dos, but if you want the opportunity management and tracking opportunities, then you need the extended pack. And by the way, you can even set up to-dos related to opportunities. So an opportunity can have a to-do just the same as a contact can have a to-do. So pretty much the same, but it's related to the opportunity. Here's something else I'm not going to have time to show today, but if you're to the point with your opportunity that you want to generate a quote and send it out to that customer, you can assign a sales quote right here, so you can actually generate a quotation to your contact for this opportunity. And then if in fact he becomes a customer, it will convert the customer, or convert the prospect into a customer, and converts the quote into a sales order, all in kind of one big swoop. It's pretty handy stuff. Okay, so let me go back to opportunities. Oh, and here's one other thing. Okay, so this, when I picked this opportunity up here at the top, that's the opportunity for the contact that I'm on. But because if I'm the sales manager and I'm looking at overall all my opportunities, I'd want some charts on my opportunities. I'd want to see the big picture. I'd want to see the counts. I want some stacks. Notice too, we've added some stacks in here for, I don't think out of the box they provide any alert stacks at all. So there's no stacks there. We do provide that in the foundation pack. Open opportunities, closed opportunities, assigned to-dos, that kind of thing. So we do provide some nice, at least a good starting point for your CRM system. Okay, now here's the other thing we added, because I found over here, so they don't even have opportunities on the menu, and that irritated me. So I said, I want opportunities right on the menu. So here's my list of open opportunities. So I can see at a glance as a sales manager, I know if you're a sales manager and you're listening in on this call, you want to be able to see those opportunities at a glance. And they come up alphabetically, so it's easy to find them. So they all come up alphabetically. That was rather than numerically. If you go to opportunities over here, can't even hardly find them. They just come up by number, which is really awkward. So I wanted them to come up by the description of the opportunity. So you got to be real careful, the opportunity, how you put that into the system. And then the other thing I wanted is I wanted to have that estimated value showing on these opportunities as well, and the expected closing date of these opportunities. Okay, that all makes sense to me. I want things that make sense as far as if I was a user, and I am a user of the CRM system, I want these things at a heartbeat. Okay. And then I said, well, that's kind of nice. If I've got closing dates and I've got values, I'd like to see that in a chart. So I'm going to take just a minute here, and this is in the I'm going to move on down of our kind of outline here today. And I want to talk a little bit about charting and dashboarding. And in CRM, that's pretty important stuff because you need to be able to see this stuff graphically as well as just a list. A list is nice, but it doesn't always give you everything that you want. So, and I'm going to show you some things that one's just basic NAV, and then I'm going to show you a little advanced topic, so kind of watch this as we go. So here's the list. Did you know with 2013 you can show the list as a chart? So you can click and show as chart, and I don't have it defined here, but then you can go back and say show as list. So a list can be either shown as a list or as a chart. Now, if the chart's not defined, then you don't get anything in this box, but it's so easy to define it, you need to do this. So watch closely. I typically do across the bottom's called the x-axis and up and down's called the y-axis. Go back to your geometry classes. So I was a math teacher in high school before I started on this, so that's why I know the X and Y axis so well. So across the bottom is your X axis, and what we want across the bottom is the closing date. So I'm just going to say closing date. And then what I want up and down the left side is I want to show those values. I want to show the value, the estimated value of my opportunity. And then give it a second. There it is. It generates this nice looking chart for me so I can see when these opportunities are going to be hopefully closing based on the closing date that's set or adjusted, because you can go in and adjust those dates, and that typically happens. You're working an opportunity. The customer says, well, I thought I was going to do this month. It probably is going to be next month before I'm ready to do that. You can change that date, and the chart is going to change. So now I've got the list view and I've got the chart view, and it will save this. But now here's what I discovered. Okay, and this is a little bit of an advanced topic, but I'm just going to take a second here and show you this because it's kind of fun. You can put this chart in a fact box so that when you're on the list, you can actually see the chart over here. And it's so simple to do. Here's how you do it. Okay, you just right click anywhere on the chart and you pick customize. So you pick customize. Give this just a second, and this opens up the chart wizard. This is where you define the chart, but you don't have to change this. It automatically has done this for us. All I really want to do is copy the chart and give it a number and a name. So I'm going to call this OPPERTUNITY list, opportunity list, and the chart title is going to be the same thing, opportunity, opportunity list. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Chart was successfully copied. It really means saved. So it's now saved, so I don't need this anymore. There's the chart. Let's go back to the list, and the only thing I need to do is drop in drop in that fact box over there. So that's done with this option here called customize the fact boxes. Okay, you just say customize the fact box. You say chart part, add that in. Puts it in here. Whoops, I got it in there twice. And then I customize that, and I called it opportunity list. And I say okay, and then I said okay, and if everything goes right, boom. Now I've got my nice little chart right there on the screen. How handy is that? Now you got it. Now I know that's easy. In fact, let me ask a question. Did I go too fast? Did you understand what I just did? Does that look easy? So in the Q&A box, I'm going to take just a break here. Easy, hard to do, what'd you think? Would that be helpful for you to be able to create these charts? Okay, so Brian says simple, easy, says Jeff, easy enough, says Kathy, James says looks easy. David says, well, that was awesome. Thank you, David. Very easy and helpful, easy enough. Hey, and by the way, don't forget, this is available anywhere in NAV. So if you're on a customer list, a vendor list, a list of inventory items, and you want to do some charting, just do that same thing. I covered this. In fact, I've got a YouTube video on our YouTube channel. Just type in cost control software and you'll go to our YouTube channel and you find the video on how to create these charts. I go a whole lot slower there. It'll show you exactly how to build these charts if you missed anything there. So it's a YouTube channel for cost control software. Just type a search on it and you'll find me, or type in Rick Baxter and it should find me there as well. Okay. Oh, so there was one other thing I wanted to show before I there's a lot. Now, this is the first time I've done this particular webinar, and I really didn't know how much time I would have to cover the things. I think I may not get to everything that I had intended to. But I do want to mention some better reporting. So one of the things that I also found out of the box is the reports, unfortunately, that come from NAV did not give me the information that I really wanted for my CRM system. So I was a little disappointed in that, but said, okay, well, that's an opportunity for us. So we went and we said, okay, we need a really nice, especially for these opportunities, we need a really nice opportunity report for the sales guys that can give them the information. If you've typed in all this information, sometimes you're traveling or something and you've got to have a hard copy. Okay, a lot of this you're going to travel and, you know, you can just look this up, dial in and look at this stuff on screen. But sometimes you'll actually want a physical hard copy. So let me give you an example of a report we designed here, which will do, in fact, show any to-dos. It shows comments. I don't know how many comments I've got in here, but let me just open this little report up. This is an opportunity report. Let this generate on screen. Give it just a second here. Okay, so the report's being generated. A little bit slower with the recording. Okay, so here's my opportunity. It's called Opportunity Detailed List. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit for you here. There, that should look better on screen. Give it just a second to open up. Okay, so this is my opportunity detail list. It's got each opportunity separated by lines, and it's going to have what the opportunity is, the estimated value, what the current value is. We put a little indicator chart here, a little, they call it a gauge, to show what the value is. So this is a value of 142,000. That would be 100%. And we're currently at 16% complete on this opportunity, going through the steps. And so the current value is 22,720. That's what this little indicator is here, saying that we haven't really reached a really strong potential of closing this sale. It does show the steps that you've gone through, that you've done some verification, you've identified the person. So these are the to-dos that you've gone through with this particular opportunity. This next one, this one does show, in fact, this is what I just typed in, isn't it? Rick talked to David at trade show, wants a quote on a new door. Maybe I didn't type that in. I typed it in previously. So it's going to put your comments in here. Again, a chart, little gauge that shows each of the opportunities. They're all listed very clearly, all the descriptions. So you can have a nice hard copy. Here's one that's 48%. You see the gauge is getting closer and closer to the total value of that opportunity. Pretty handy to be able to see what's going on with that sales opportunity. There's one other report. I think that's on the customer list. It's called a sales dashboard. I don't know, maybe some of you have seen this before. This is a Microsoft provided report, but we included and put it on the screen just to make it easy. It's also kind of shows your top customers, so they're charted here on screen. Your top inventory items, they're ranked based on sales volumes. Your balance due from customers by country, and then the item purchases, what items have been actively purchased within your software. So a lot of this dashboarding. This is all. Again, this is all part of the built-in reporting tools within NAV software. If you have not used the report writer and want to learn how to use the report writer software, we've just completed, I'll just put in another little plug here, we've just completed a brand new class for the 2013 release of the report writer tool, how to use it top to bottom. Takes you through all the Visual Studio, the design, the process, very charting, graphing, all, starts very slowly with some simple charts and simple reports, and then goes into some fairly elaborate ones. And in fact, I'm sure this opportunity report right here, that you may go, oh my goodness, look at this, all the information on this report. Well, this is actually a very good report to learn from, because it has lots of tables. It's a multi-table report, has the how to use the charting tool to drop in your gauges in here, and sublines, and drop in totals and subtotals and grand totals, all of that. And we use this report as the foundation of the report writer class. So if you would like to actually learn how to write this report, that is in our class. It's called Getting Started with NAV 2013 Report Writer. If you're interested on the pricing on that, there's a product catalog on our website, and it's all available right there. Okay, let me go back to the study guide. So I did want to show you just a little bit on charting and dashboarding and some better reports. So I'm going to stop one more time for another poll, and this is your chance to grab your keyboard again. Give me some impressions of what you've seen so far. Do you like what you've seen so far? Would you want to have this installed in your NAV software? Somebody needs to type in a question. Okay, Brian says, if I can feed leads. Absolutely, you can feed leads. So as you get, good question, Brian. So Brian's question is, as he gets a new lead, can I put that lead into the system? Of course you can. You can use the XML ports. If you don't know how to use that, we'll help you do that. Brian's saying from Dodge, from any source. So any source where you get the name, address, phone number, that type of thing, and then it can even set up your opportunities. It just all depends how you design the import tool. Okay, Alan says, yes, great improvements, and we'll send info out to our clients. Great, thank you, Alan. Appreciate your support. James says, we'll need to try out our workflow to see where the basics fall short. Absolutely, James, let me know. And if any of you on the call want a follow-up presentation to this, that's exactly what I do. I do my very best to cover the basics here in an hour, but there's a lot to it. And yeah, Dodge Reports is definitely for construction projects. I'm very familiar with Dodge Reports. Okay, so let me go back to the guide, see where I am. So we're getting some positive response. I appreciate that. Do the opportunities work with existing customers? Sure. This list, this list is basically, when I'm back here on contacts, the question from Vicky is that, when I'm seeing this list of customers, because this list can be customers, and can their opportunities be in here as well? And you could start your opportunity here, and since it's an existing customer, then you can assign a sales quote, and it's a real quick process because it's already to an existing customer to do the quote related to this particular opportunity. All very, very integrated. You'd like it a lot, Vicki. If you need assistance with any of that, just give me a call. Okay, so I want to show one other little thing here that I think is extremely important and part of Foundation Pack. I was hoping I'd get through some of these other things, but I I want to be sure that you see this send as PDF. We're really proud of this enhancements that we've done for the send as PDF. And it's another feature in Foundation Pack, but I'll show how it might relate to those of you that are doing your quotes out of CRM. So if you've generated a quotation to a customer, so you've got your quote in the system. Let's just so I've gone over to the sales quotes area, and let's just pull that quote up on screen so you can see what the quote looks like. So here's the quote. It's a pretty simple one in this example. It's for a side panel and a wooden door, 40 and 14. And it's got some prices in here. So this is a fairly traditional quote. Now my guess is most of you, when you are wanting to send a quotation, a sales quote, from NAV, you're probably going to print that quote and put it in your fax machine, and you're going to fax it over to your prospect. Okay? Or you're going to fold it up and put it in an envelope and you mail it. Or you're going to want to save it as a PDF file and send it as an attachment. Well, we had so many people saying, well, can't I just send this quote as a PDF all in one big push? So we worked really hard and we came up with a great way. We think this is really cool. So watch what this does. I've got the customer information in here. I know who my contact is. I've got the email. I've got everything I need. I should be able to send this quote. In fact, this works on purchase orders and credit memos, invoices, everywhere throughout the system. And I'm just going to show it to you for quotes. So I'm going to say send as PDF. So I'm going to just click this, send as PDF, and give it a second. I got to allow that. And it should come up here in 2 seconds. Oh, I closed my Outlook. I do that every time I do this presentation. Okay, let me open up my Outlook here. Just give it an extra minute. And then it's probably going to have to download a bunch of emails, so bear with me. I really want you to see this, so I'm going to take an extra minute while my Outlook's opening. Here it comes. Okay, so my Outlook's opening. Then it's got to download 20 emails from today, and then it will, I forgot, I'm supposed to have that open, so this goes really fast here. So it takes just an extra second here, and it's going to then generate my PDF file. And I want you to see what this looks like. This is really nice. Okay, give it just a second. Give it a second. And I'm going to go just a couple minutes past the top of the hour, and then I'm going to open this up for some questions as well. And there were some questions earlier I want to get back to here as we go. So, oh, come on. You got to see this. It's coming. It's coming. Do I need to click that again? My Outlook is, of course, downloading because I should have had that opened earlier. Give it just a minute. Here we go. A reminder of the email. You probably all got that reminder that your webinar is coming up. I don't want to push the button again. Come on. Okay. Oh, question. Yeah, Brian's asking, what's my phone number for follow-up? I'll put that up here on the screen in just a minute. Brian, hang in there. Well, I'll just tell you while I'm waiting for this to open. It is area code 317-846-6025. And I will, if I don't hear from you, I will contact you as well. So I'm not seeing it yet, so I'm going to push this again. So we're going to say send as PDF. Maybe I didn't push it in the first place. Now I probably opened it up 7 times. So let me just give this a second to open. Oh, it's still downloading files. Goodness me. I was only off to, I don't know how many of you get a lot of emails every day, but it's gotten so that it's almost you can't do other business because you're getting so many emails. Here it comes. Here it comes. Okay. Now, it came up on my other screen, so I'm going to pull it over here. Give it just a minute. Come on. This is not, there we go. Okay. here's what I wanted to show you. Thanks for your patience on that. This is important to me. So here is what it's doing. It generates this, normally much faster because you'd have your emails open. But it puts in the your customers or prospects email address here. It puts your name, that it's a quotation number 101. It puts an attachment, which is the quote document itself. It's going to put in your company logo, probably a little bit of advertisement, your website, your whatever you want to put up here. And then Andy, thank you for the opportunity to submit the quotation. Attached, please find a copy of the quote number 101 dated this date. And quote value is it puts the actual dollar amount of the quote right into the body. I didn't type this in here. Right into the body of your email. Put your name down at the bottom, your company information down here, maybe a little advertisement, and some more, address, city, state, zip. You make this look however you want it to look in the actual body. So it creates this very, I think, spectacular looking body to your email, as well as the actual quote document. Might as well see what that looks like. So let's open up the quote. So this is what your prospect or customer is going to receive. So let that open up. So I'm going to right click on that. It's opening up. Come on, I've got too many things running here, so hopefully the system won't crash and burn on me. I said open sesame. Here we go. Okay, so here comes the quote. This is my PDF reader, and this is what our quote document looks like. Now, I don't know what your quote looks like. Well, that's not come up on your screen yet. There we go. Okay, so here's the quote. It's going to say sales quote number 1001 or whatever the number is. Notice on our quotes, we like to put the customer's phone number in here, the customer's fax number, in case you actually do want to fax this as a printed document. You've got the fax number handy, because out of the box it doesn't print the fax number. And it's got the customer's email address in there as well, in case you want to just send it as an attachment. The manual way, but this does it all automatically. So it puts, the sold to, the shipped to information down here, and then because it's a quote, I like to have at the bottom of my quote accepted by. So I have a place for the customer to accept that amount, and there's the dollar amount, $3,167.01, that same amount that you saw back here on the in the body area. So we just pluck that out of the document and put it into the body, just so you have it a couple of different places. So this is our send as PDF. Nice little addition. It's easy to add this in with it comes with Foundation Pack. It's another one of our Foundation Pack features. Okay, so let's go back here. The things I was hoping I'd have time to cover today. I did show you that one. A little bit on the defaults, some fact box improvements. You started to see that, a variety of reports that are in there. All of this is about what I'm going to call a smoother rollout for your NAV 2013. So for any of you that are thinking about upgrading or launching with NAV 2013, please give me a call and think about using this database. This is what you need for a proper 2013 rollout. Really nice experience, and started the right way with not just the CRM improvements, but there's actually 70 improvements. I've just shown you the CRM stuff today. There's actually about 70 improvements that we've made to the base database. Okay, so I'm going to skip the last poll. I want to go down, and one of the questions we always get, so I'm just going to lay this out for you now, is how much does all this cost? And you think, oh my gosh, this is going to be very, very expensive. We think it's very reasonable. Foundation Pack normal retail on this product is $1,900. That includes all 70 features. You've seen one of 70 today. Okay, so be aware that you haven't seen everything. You've only seen one little portion of it, and I want you to see the whole thing. I've got a nice brochure that talks about Foundation Pack and lists out one by one all of these 70 improvements. If you don't have that, send me an email. I'll get that to you. Okay, now, because you've attended, and I appreciate so many of you taking so much time with me today. Got 28 on the call. I had 31 a little bit earlier. It was great. I'm going to offer a special attendee-only announcement. So if you are an attendee, I'm going to discount the foundation pack, my special offer to you, $500. So your cost would be $1,400 for foundation pack for the next 90 days. So I'm going to give you 90 days, all the way out till about the 1st of November. So you got plenty of time to think about this. Go to your boss, set up a demo. Let's talk about this. Maybe you're thinking about upgrading your system. You got 90 days, okay, from now. So think about this. If that's of attraction to you, put this in, okay? And I hope, but do mention that you learned about this special, because I'm not going to have this anywhere else. It's only here on this webinar, and for those of you watching the replay, it ends on December the 1st. So you got to get this done by December. Did I say December? December. We'll go to December 1st on this thing. Okay. Now, some Q&A, some typical questions that come in. I want to hit these first, and then I'm going to open the lineup. Can these features be added to my existing NAV 2013 database? A lot of people want to know if they can add this if they already have 2013 and they didn't start with what you saw me do today. Can I add this into my existing system? Guess what? The answer is yes. We can literally import these fobs for you and set up your system. So talk to us about that. Is there a manual, any kind of user manual provided? Absolutely. All of our products, and this is just one of 24 add-ons, this foundation pack. We have not only the manuals, we have full video instruction included. I'm big into video. You've probably seen some of my recordings on the website, but we have a whole lot more than just that, with video instruction on how to use our products. So there's a complete video instruction on how to actually use the foundation pack. Very nicely done presentation there. Okay, a question that comes up sometimes, although I think I did show this, a quote to a prospect. You can do, see, out of the box, it's very difficult to add a quote to a, you can do a quote to a customer all day long, but to a prospective customer, that's pretty hard to do. And in fact, I showed you where you started this process in the video. I didn't go through the whole thing. The answer is definitely yes, you can do that with the Foundation Pack CRM. Does this integrate with the rest of NAV? This was a question I had at the beginning when people signed up for the webinar, and it actually works both ways. So if you're on a customer card, you can say add contacts, and you can actually go to your here, I can show you that real quick. So if you're on a customer, let me just so let's go to customers. Let's see who we're on here. So I'm on Canon Group, and when I'm sitting on Canon Group, there is under communication, where is it? No, it's here. Okay, primary contact number. You can just click the drop down, and this is now going over to the contact list, and it shows all the contacts at that customer. So very interactive to be able to see all the contacts that you have at the Canon Group, even though you've identified a primary contact here on the customer card. So yes, they very interactive, both systems, and you can even take a prospect and then make that prospect into a customer, so there's no re-entry. And that's covered in our training on CRM. Okay, so some of the things that I might cover if it's one-on-one, but I'm not going to be able to cover it here. Obviously, we're out of time. Marketing campaigns, Outlook integration, the CRM comparisons and connectors, and interaction tracking. There's a lot more that I would not be able to get to. But if you do have questions on any of this stuff, just give me a call. I'm more than happy to help you in any way I can. And somebody asked for my phone number, so I'm going to put my contact information up here on screen. Again, my name's Rick Baxter, so you know who you're talking to or listening to today. with cost control software. I'm out of Carmel, Indiana, right in the middle of the state, and we are a support center for all the Microsoft product lines. So we're more than happy to assist you in any way we can. If you haven't seen our schedule of webinars, they're on our website. Visit our YouTube channel. Just go to Cost Control Software on YouTube, and you'll see a bunch of very helpful tips on NAV 2013 there as well. So just do a search on, in fact, you can even do a search on Send as PDF on YouTube, and you should be able to find my recording on how to do that. In fact, that might even now be posted on our website as well. Okay, so I'm going to open this up to questions. On the way the Q&A, if you have to leave, I understand that's going to kind of cut off the actual instructional part, but I do have time. I'm going to stay around for a while and just answer any questions. There was some earlier. I'm going to look back on this list here and just see if I've got any. What you do is you just type them in the Q&A box, and I will try to answer them. Okay, so David asks, is it possible for a sales rep to see all the leads and accounts in the CRM but only be able to edit the leads that belong to them? David, what we did is we separated, either you can see your leads only, or if you're the sales manager, then you can see and freely edit all leads. I did not make it so that you could do kind of that in-between system. Question later, can access limited users? Yeah, this definitely could be done with limited users. You don't need a full license, but remember, you can only write to 3 tables. So you got to think closely in terms of which tables that you would want to use your limited users with. Okay, so David says, please send me the list of CRM improvements in your foundation pack. Thank you, David. I'll make a note of that here. I will send that out to you. Thanks for the question. Hopefully I got everybody's question. That works. So let me see if we got any new questions. Ned says, assigning to quotes, does that mean we need to create a quote as a separate effort, or will the opportunity be written to the quote? Yeah, the opportunity is written to the quote. So basically, you come in. So the question again, so if I'm sitting here on this opportunity and I want to basically create the quote, well, now it doesn't take this. It doesn't take this description here and make that the line of your quote. It basically takes the contact information, who it's to, like Guilford Water Department. That would be the header information. You still fill out the body of your quote with what line items you want to have on the quote document, but it links them. So now we've got a quote linked directly here and you can show the quote. Right here's show the sales quote. You can show the quote linked to that opportunity. So it's more of a linking process and initiating the quote from there. Okay, so let me see if I got any other questions. So thank you for attending. Got a few people that are still on the call. 19 still on the call. Last chance for questions, guys. So if you do want to have any last questions for Rick, I'll do my best to answer them. Just type them into your dialog box, and otherwise we're going to wrap it up. Hopefully you got some value out of this, and now you certainly know about Cost Control Software's Foundation Pack and some of the improvements. If you want more information about any of these things, you know I'm here to serve you in any way I possibly can. We want you to include our products with your NAV sales, for those of you that are NAV resellers on the call. Okay, so Ned says thank yous. Thank you, Ned, for attending. David, thank you for attending. Ned, thank you again. Brian, thank you for attending. I think that's about it. I'm not seeing any additional questions. Daniel says thank you. Hope this was helpful for everyone. I enjoyed the presentation. I'm going to stop the recorder. Forgot about that. So thank you if you're watching the recording on this. I'm going to stop.